Welcome back. In this video, we'll be doing this right column here of our 3.1 Intro to CAD. At this point, you should already have the isometric column completed, and we'll finish the third column for the solids today. We'll save this first column for later whenever we come back to creating multi-views. This will happen after we do the board work with the multi-views, so please make sure that you hold on to this file and don't lose it. Okay, before we start, we're going to want to make sure that up here at the top that you are in AKHS/3D drawing. So you should be in 2D right now. We want to switch to 3D. If you've used a program like Inventor or Onshape before, this will be a little familiar to you. However, just bear in mind that these are different and the processes for accomplishing those goals may be slightly different than what you're used to. So this video is still important, even if you've had a class like Intro to Engineering or something similar. So we're going to start out with this first one here. I need to check some dimensions. So if I were doing this, I would break this up into a couple sections. We're going to do this bottom section first, and then we'll do this top section. We'll add this top section onto this bottom section, and then we'll add in our holes and subtract those out afterwards as our final result. I also want to check over here under layers and make sure that you're under an object layer and not one of these others. So make sure you're under the object layer before we get started. And we'll start out with this base. So first I'm going to start with some lines. It's better that you are in, first let's get out of isometric drafting. That's important. And we want to check our snaps and make sure that we are snapping to our 45-90 orientation like that. Okay, so we're going to start with this base. We're going to draw polylines. It's important that you're drawing with polylines, not regular lines. If you're not in regular lines, when you go back to extrude these things, it won't work. So make sure you're using polylines, not your standard line. We're going to choose our starting point. It doesn't really matter where you start, but we're going to start by looking down onto this base here. So I'm going to start here and draw up. The depth or the distance here is 2. We're going to go over to the right, 2.5. We're going to come down 1, to the left 0.5, down 1 more. You want to, it should be snapping with that original corner that you drew, and then back to our starting point like that. Right click to escape. And then we can take this little guy here and rotate just a little bit. This is our navigation cube. We're going to extrude this bottom portion, select that outline, press enter, and you'll see that it starts to extrude there for you. We want to extrude it up, and then the depth or the height of this will be 0.5. Enter, just like that. And repeat that process by creating a polyline, PL, enter. We're going to come over here and draw, and we want to create a 1 by 1. So 1, enter, come to the right, 1, enter, come down, 1, enter, and then come back to your starting point like that. We're going to create this 1 by 1 box that has a height of 1 as well, so we can extrude it by selecting here, right click, drag it up, and give it a height of 1, enter. So from there, I would recommend zooming out a bit and then rotating around where you can see a little bit better around the back side. I would recommend looking at it from this view. And then we're going to move this onto here. So the command to do that is MO. Just kidding. It's just M for move. You want to select this. You want to right click. We're going to choose this bottom corner. Pay close attention to what you're selecting. Choose that corner, and then come over here and pop it to this upper corner here. So the bottom corner to the top corner, like so. And then before we proceed, we want to union these two together to make it one part. The command for that is just union. There's no shortcut for that. You want to select the top part and then the bottom part and then press enter, and you'll see that now it's one solid piece. I'm going to come back and rotate around to where I was when we started and zoom in a bit. I'm going to need to draw a couple circles. The circles have a diameter of 0.5. So I'm going to draw a circle, or you can press C for circle, enter. Select your starting point, bring it out. It's asking for a radius. You can type D, enter, and then 0.5, enter. Or you can redraw that circle and this time just type in the radius, so the radius would be 0.25. Either way, we get the same result. Okay, one of the circles goes up here and it's going to be a cylinder that goes all the way through to create that hole. The overall height of our object is 1.5, so we're going to extrude one of the circles to a distance of 1.5. The second circle only goes through the bottom section, so it's going to have a height of 0.5, like this. And then we're going to need some reference points to make sure that we get those things into the correct location. So one easy way to do that is to take a line and just go corner to corner along the top. You'll be able to see it. And then we're going to do another line from corner to corner here that we can use those midpoints as our reference points. Now we're going to move these cylinders. So M, enter. I'm going to select this tall one, enter. And then I'm going to select the center point of the top like that. Pay close attention to what you're clicking on, and then I want to snap to this midpoint right here like that, and you should see your cylinder sitting there. We'll repeat that process for the smaller one here. Select the top center point here and then snap it to this midpoint here like so. Now our last step for this first one is to subtract this from here and then also subtract this from here. To subtract, it's SU, enter. You want to select this and this, press enter, and then select this, and then press enter. Oop, that didn't work. So let's try that again. Subtract. I'm going to do them one at a time. And they're not subtracting. We want to subtract. Oh, I'm sorry. We're subtracting from this, and then we want to subtract these and these. There we go. My bad. If you're ever confused about why your commands aren't working, it's okay to make mistakes. As you can see, I still make them as well. Pay close attention to what your command bar says. So I'll pull that back up, and you'll see it's regions to subtract from, not the things that you want to subtract. So just pay close attention to what you are selecting or what your command bar is asking for. Then once I've done that, I can come in and I can just delete these little reference lines that I was using to place those things in the correct location. And now we have our first one. So the second one will work similarly, except this time we are going to have to change the orientation of a couple things. So if I were doing this, which I am, I would do this bottom section as one piece, and then I would do this part where it cuts off right there. So like there, so that top section, and then I would do the triangle last. So just pay close attention and make sure you're dimensioning this piece to include this back section where this will set on top of it. So let me pull up those dimensions. And looking at this bottom section here, I'm going to start with polylines again. And then I'm going to save this angled piece for last so I can just connect it. So I'm going to go from here to the left 2. I'm going to go up 2. I'm going to come to the right 3. And then I'm going to come down 1. and then I will connect that last line for the end part. If you want to, you can go ahead and draw all of your profiles first, and then you can extrude them all. I'll show you that method as well. So I'm going to press enter to repeat that polyline command, and I'm going to draw a rectangle. The rectangle should have a height of 1, should have a width of 2.5, and then we'll connect it down like that. Inside of there, we also have a circle, and I have flipped this around on accident. Inside of there, we also have a circle. We can go ahead and draw that. Circle, enter. And it should be centered. So I'm going to find that location by snapping it, hopefully. Maybe not. Okay, if not, then I'm going to draw a line and connect here and connect here. You can do that, or you can find the midpoint, either one. And then I want a circle here, and we know that the diameter is 0.5, or you can type in 0.25 for the radius. Just pay close attention to what the command line is asking from you. So I'll do it like that and erase those lines that I was using to help me. And then the last piece is that triangle. So the triangle has a height of 1. Polylines again, remember that. It won't extrude correctly if you don't have polylines. Actually, I should have went the other way. We're going to try that again. So polyline, I'm going to draw the bottom first, and then I can connect the bottom. So the base of it should be 1.5. The height of it should be 1, and then it should connect here like that. Okay, this here, they all have the same thickness. Each one of them has a thickness of 0.5. So we're going to, I like to rotate a little bit so I can see it when it extrudes up. We're going to extrude this piece, right click like that, and it should have a height of 0.5. Repeat that for here and the circle for a height of 0.5. And we'll repeat that for this triangle piece as well, 0.5, just like that. Then we're going to have to rotate some things. So this needs to rotate up. It needs to rotate along the z-axis, and it needs to rotate along the x-axis. And then this one needs to rotate just along the x-axis, I think. Okay, so let's type rotate, RO. I'm going to choose this, and then I'm going to choose what I want to rotate it around. We want to go this way. You may have to play around with this a little bit just to get it in the right spot. You have to rotate it twice. Like that. So I think that one's in the right spot. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and subtract this little hole here. So SU, enter, select the main part, enter, and then select the cylinder, enter. If it doesn't delete, undo, and make sure you pay close attention to what you're selecting. And now we'll rotate this one as well. Right click, pick a corner, and then if it doesn't rotate the way you want it to, press escape and try it again. So sometimes it requires a little trial and error. It's still not rotating the way that I want to. So another option is 3D. Rotate, select this guy, and then you can kind of choose which way you want it to rotate, and then make sure you're snapping in the right direction. So that's an option as well. You can do a traditional rotate or you can do a 3D rotate. Looking back, I'm unsure that I dimensioned this correctly, but we'll see. If I didn't, we can just come back and we can do it again. Mistakes happen, it's not a big deal. So we're going to move this triangle first. I'm 95% sure that I dimensioned it correctly. So we're going to move this guy. We want to select its corner here, and we want to snap it to this corner here. Yeah, definitely did not dimension this part correctly. Okay, so one thing I could do is come back and redraw it. Not a big deal. So you can draw it with a rectangle, or you can draw the piece that fits here and extrude it up. Either one of those will work. So I'll show you both of these. So if you don't have your sound on, now's a great time to turn it on. I'll show you both options. So watch both options before you decide which way you want to do it. So one way would be to come in and draw a rectangle. You can choose the rectangle command here and bring it this way. It's asking for area. It disappeared. So if I do a rectangle, it's asking for area, dimensions, or rotation. I'm going to choose D for dimensions. I want a length of 3 this time, and then I want a height of 1. That. Oops, I deleted it. My bad. Okay, I'm going to do that again. D, enter, 3, enter, 1, enter. There we go. Oh, no, we're not. Okay, try that again. I'm not reading my command bar, which is not good. That's okay. Let's try it again. D, enter, 3, enter, 1, enter, select a base point, which I wasn't doing. Okay, now we should be good. So with that, I'm also going to draw just a regular line, and I'm going to come from this distance over here to the left, and I'm going to go in 1.25, 1.25, enter, and then I'm going to come down 0.5. Like that. That will give me the location of my circle. So then I'm going to draw a circle. From here, it has a diameter of 0.5 or 0.25 for the radius. And then I can delete this, and I can delete this as well. You can then extrude, so EXT, extrude. Select the two things you want to extrude, press enter, and then give it a height or thickness, technically, of 0.5. We can then subtract SU, subtract from, and then what you want to subtract, enter. I didn't do it right. It's okay, SU, enter. From, enter, what you want to subtract, enter, and now we're talking. Okay, so a couple ways you can do this. You can do it this way. So then we'll do a 3D rotate. Choose what you want to rotate, and then we want to bring it, oops, careful what you're clicking on. If it gets out of orientation, we've got some issues. Okay. So we want to rotate it up this way, like that. Okay. So we can take this and we can move it to our correct corner. We can rotate it around this way. MO for, nope, just M, M, enter for move. Select this and then select this bottom corner. Always zoom in to make sure you're selecting the correct things, and you can pop it there. That's one option. Or we can build us another rectangle. So we can choose a rectangle. It's 0.5 by 0.5. So we'll do dimensions, enter, 0.5, enter, 0.5, enter, and give it a base. We can extrude, EXT, and then give it a height of 1, like this. And then we can move this little one by its corner here to here. And then we can move this one by its little corner here to here. So either way, since we're making mistakes together, either one of those options will work as long as you end up with the correct final result, which is totally fine. Okay, now, regardless of how you did it, you have to union all of these things together. So I'm going to type in union. I'm going to choose all of my components so that they are now one solid object, just like that. All right, we are 2/5 of the way done. This one should be much simpler. So at this one, we're going to start out with this profile here. We'll pop the circle in there, extrude everything all at once, and then subtract the cylinder out. So starting, let's start with some polylines again. Remember to draw it with polylines. I'm going to start here. The height is 2. We're going to go over 2. We're going to come down 1.5. We'll go over 2. We'll come down 1. To the left, 0.5. Up, 0.5. Or snap it. And then back to our original location. Next, we are going to draw a circle. We can try to draw that circle without having to draw lines, which doesn't always work, which is fine. If that's the case, one little helpful piece is to switch to a construction line before you do that. And then we'll draw 2 lines, one from here to here. You can do it this way. You can draw 1 line or you can draw 2. With 1, we can snap to the center point. I'll switch back to my object lines like this and then draw a circle. Our center point will be this midpoint, and then the diameter is 1. Like that. Delete that construction line that I was using. Rotate to some sort of 3D view where we can see everything instead of just the profile. And then we'll extrude, EXT, select the outline and the cylinder or the circle, which will become a cylinder, and then the thickness of this is 2. We'll then subtract, SU, select the main shape, select the cylinder inside, and then press enter, and now we've got our third of 5. That one's much easier, less parts. All right, so let's move on to number 4, and then 5 will be the hardest one, but I think you guys will be able to handle it by the time we get there. So this one here, we're going to start with this bottom profile with its circle drawn in it, and then we'll do this part, rotate it, place it on top. So first, let's start with the rectangle. So you can again draw with polylines, or you can do the rectangle command. Either one will work. I do like the rectangle command. It's pretty efficient. There's no REC is the short key for that. So select a base. Hold tight. So select the base. It's asking for dimensions, enter. We want the width to be 4 and then the height to be 2, like this. I'm then going to come over here and choose a construction line so that I can use it to place my hole in the correct spot. So just a line. Or you could do polyline. Polyline would probably be easier because then you can delete the whole thing at once. So it is located up 1, enter, And then in it's located also 1 for its center. Then we can come back and switch to our object lines, draw a circle, choose our base point, and then give it a diameter of 1. Select this polyline and delete it. Use the delete command, not the backspace on your keyboard in case you forgot. And then we can go ahead and draw this little profile up here as well. So PL, enter. We'll save that inclined plane for last. I'm going to start here on the right side and go left for a distance of 2. Give it a height of 1, 1 along the top as well, and then connect for your last step. We can now extrude this, and yes, and this, all for a distance of 1. We'll then subtract from this. We want to remove this. We're then going to 3D rotate this, rotating along this axis. I'm not confident that I did that correctly, so I'm going to Control Z and undo it and do it again. So just be careful what you're clicking on. If you're not confident about it, escape and undo. It'll save you trouble in the long run. So I'll select this, and we want to snap it like that. I didn't do that before. This is a nifty little trick you can do as well. Since it's symmetrical, if you can get in the right viewport like this, we can snap this midpoint to this midpoint along the top. So we'll move, M, enter, select this, and we can snap this midpoint to this midpoint like that, and it'll save you some time as well. Don't forget to union it at the end. Oh, that didn't go through, so union, enter, make sure your commands pop up correctly like that, so it's one nice figure. So this last piece is pretty complicated. We're going to break it up into several steps. If I were doing this, I would draw this profile first. This profile, and your circles. Extrude it all, rotate this, and this, and this. Rotate everything and then place it in there, I think. So let's see how that goes. If you see a different way you would like to do it, that's totally fine. You don't have to follow what I'm doing step by step, as long as you are getting to the same result. If you see more efficient ways or better ways that work for you as we're approaching this point, then by all means, please do that. Just be careful with your dimensioning. All right, so I think I'm going to draw this profile first. So coming over here with a polyline, I think I'll start at this corner right here and then end there. Okay, so I'm going to come here. It's 1 this, or 0.5 this way, and then we're coming down 0.25. We're coming over to the right. I'll zoom in so you can see better. Over to the right 1, and then down 0.25. Over to the right 1, down 0.25. Make sure you're snapping, so make sure you're getting those green construction lines or guidelines. The whole base of this is 3. This part here should be 0.5, and then we'll connect it here at the end, like that. Then I'm also going to draw the circles. The circles have a diameter of 0.5. Circle, enter, 0.25 for a radius. If you're not typing in the radius, make sure that you change it to diameter. Then we'll do the little triangle pieces. The tiny one at the top, polyline again. We're going to start with the bottom left corner of it. The base of the triangle is 0.5. The height of the triangle is 0.25. And then we'll connect it here. And then the other triangle, the one on the, or not, more trapezoid shape, I'm going to start at this corner here and work my way around. So starting here, this piece is 0.25. And then we're going to go to the left. So again, make sure you're getting those green construction lines helping you out. The base here is 1. The height should be 0.75. And then bring it back to your starting point like this. Okay. Now we're going to extrude. This piece here has a depth of 2. This one here should be 1. One here should also be 1. And then one of the circles should be 0.25. So it doesn't really matter if it's too big. It's only an issue if it's too small. And then this one should be 0.5. Like this. Okay, now let's do some rotating. I'm going to rotate this one. So do 3D rotate this way. We're going to 3D rotate this one. It's the same. Pay attention to your snaps. And rotate this one the same. It's possible that you could have done all of this at in one step. However, I didn't, which is okay. Now I'm going to move these two in place, and then we'll save these two for last. So first, I'm going to take this corner and go to this corner. So move this. Paying close attention to what you're selecting. So this corner to this corner. And then we'll take this corner and go back here. That way you don't have to move anything around, rotating wise, before you place it like that. You can go ahead and union it. We won't have to union after this point anyway. So now it's one solid piece. And then we're going to draw a line so we can place these where they go. So I'm going to do a polyline. I'm going to do a polyline, but make sure you're in a construction line first so you can see it. So a polyline, and then I'm going to go from this corner in 0.5, and then I'm going to come up 0.5 as well. And then I'm going to repeat that here, 0.5. You could also snap to the midpoint, and then come 0.5 this way as well. And I'm not confident that I drew those in the right spot. Nope, I didn't. Nope. Nope. Didn't draw that in the right spot. Okay, no worries. Maybe we won't do it that way, which is fine. You know, we make mistakes, and that is all right. Okay, so I'm having issues. So I'm going to undo both of those things. That was tragic. Okay, so instead, I think I'll do a line, and I'll come from this corner to this corner, and repeat that from this corner to this corner. Because of the way I was oriented, it was wanting to come up off of the shape since I'm in a 3D mode. So just be mindful of that. And now we'll just move M, enter, not MO. One of these days, I'll remember that. So we're going to move this by its center point on top to the midpoint of this line like this. And repeat that process for this one. Its center point on top. Be careful. And then press its center point like that. Now, hopefully, we can come over here and delete these construction lines. Careful not to delete your object. You only want to delete the construction line. and then we will subtract from this to remove this and this. Should be able to do it all at one time, like that. And now you have completed the third column of this assignment. Let's get oriented back correctly. So you've completed the third column of this assignment, and we will save the multi-view column for a later date. And once we've done the multi-view part of this, we'll discuss plotting and printing and things like that. So be sure to save your file, hold on to it, don't lose it, back it up to Google Drive just to be safe, and we'll be back for part 3 later.